on, off, and their brightness can be adjusted all from a control center instead of somebody going manually and turning on or anything. So IoT can help in the parking, smart parking, where the parking space is available or not. Somebody can use the IoT device to find out. So there are various applications. There are smart cities, similarly vehicle-to-vehicle communication where IoT can bring us on there. So these are some of the use cases where IoT will have a role to play. And in terms of the number of devices, I think many of your faculties already would have briefed, like by 2020, you are going to have something like 50 billion devices getting connected to the internet. So that is the scale of number of devices that are going to get connected, right? So you can see the plot where the human population versus the device population. The black color represents the human population, whereas the blue one represents the device population. So you can see how it grows. In 2003, the devices were very small. So whereas by 2020, it's almost 7 times the human population. It's about 50 billion. So that means for every individual on this planet, so you'll have 7 devices per person. So that is the kind of scale we are talking about. So what are the different categories of IoT? One is the consumer IoT, where you have appliances in home getting connected, like a refrigerator, air conditioner, and smart watches. All of them will fall into the categories of consumer IoT. So, and other aspect is the industrial IoT, where in your manufacturing plant, you want to make efficient manufacturing pipeline, like how you want to manage your assets, when you want to supply chain management, where if you want to manufacture, for example, in a car manufacturing unit, when the supply is going out, so some your IoT device will communicate to the control center saying, or the supply chain manager saying that this needs new supply in the pipeline, so that they will supply in advance. So all the demand supply can be managed through IoT devices in the manufacturing sector. Also predictive maintenance. When a particular equipment is going to go fail, so they will get to know in advance so that they can prepare before it becomes a problem for the manufacturing pipeline. So all this kind of operational technologies, they call it, where it is about manufacturing network. The IT network, where it manages the enterprise resource planning, customer resource management, and ERP, and so many of them. They are not integrated in the traditional internet scenario. Whereas in the industrial IoT scenario, your IT network and the manufacturing network, both of them get integrated. Then that forms the industrial Internet of Things. So that means you can take the benefit of the data that comes from the IT system, right? How many, let's say, a particular raw material is available in the IT network. The data is available in the IT network. Whereas in the manufacturing network, nothing is available. So when you combine them, somebody can predict, okay, they need this particular raw material, so you supply in advance. So all those information can be effectively managed when we combine the data that is available in the IT network with the requirement in the manufacturing network. So that is the benefit we draw out of this industrial IoT concept. And the public sector IoT, the third one is about smart city applications, where things like water management, energy management, and smart street lighting, air quality monitoring, all of them, connected vehicles, social sensing, where like the Uber and other network, we are getting to see the traffic, right? So dynamically we get to see where is the traffic congestion and all those things. So those are all social sensing. They also help in the smart city concept. So these are the three logical division of applications. They will have different requirements. For example, in industrial IoT, you need to collect the data in real time. So if the machine is industrial IoT, the information or the data collection is critical. So that needs to reach the somebody who is going to decide that needs to reach them quickly. So that means the real-time requirement is a major aspect in the industrial IoT. So whereas in the public sector or the consumer IoT, it is not the latency of the throughput, those kind of aspects are not very critical. So those differentiation one should be aware of. So why security is required? I just want to highlight some of the security incidents to just to draw your attention why security is paramount. You can see some of the incidents that was reported in the last 5-10 years, right? So where in Poland, one of the teenager was able to hack, like he just prototyped a small device like a TV remote. He was able to control the tram network, and he managed to derail some of the trams, and some accident happened. So that was industry control system, not protected, right? So they assume that is isolated, nobody can hack that. But some school students managed to hack it. So because they assume that it is an isolated network, nobody can hack it, but it's possible. And one of the incident in Australia where disgruntled employee, like somebody got fired from by the employer, he goes away and then he tries to connect to the SCADA network, and he managed to create problems to their water network, like the sewage gets mixed with the stormwater drain by he managed to control the pump. Instead of pumping to the sewage network, he tried pumping to the stormwater drain, creating a lot of havoc in the normal rainwater that is supposed to flow. Actually, it was flowing the sewage. So you can see the kind of chaos that somebody can create through hacking the industry control system. And also the Stuxnet bomb, I think in Iran, where the nuclear facility was hacked through some kind of a USB based attack, where somebody came and connected a USB and then through a Windows system, and they were able to corrupt the particular SCADA network, and then the complete smart grid or the nuclear power control system has been brought down. So these are some of the security incidents. You can see those are real incidents where a simple software update that hasn't happened, or as somebody taking the credentials and trying to log into the industry control system and bring the network down, all this would be possible if the proper security approach is not adopted in the IoT domain. This is all the more relevant if we have billions of devices. These are times when IoT is not widespread and it is secluded network. So they are not really connected to the internet. They are industry control system in silos. Whereas the industrial IoT advocates that you connect to the internet and then you take the benefit of the IT network. So in those scenarios, the security is going to be even more threatening. So it is important one should know what are the consequences. So you can see the kind of incidents the US cyber emergency response team has reported, the kind of sectors where number of incidents by the sector. You can see that energy, there are about 46 incidents was reported in 2015, and in the manufacturing, something like 97 incidents. These are security incidents reported, therefore it can create potential harm to the industrial control system. And also there is another graphic on the right hand side. You can see the kind of attack. Another is the phishing attack. Phishing attack means somebody sending an email, taking an identity of somebody else, like the various emails that we receive, somebody is sending from a bank. We assume that it is originally coming from a bank. You try to open the content, then probably we have for example, a Microsoft Word document with some active content. You click on it, probably you try to find out your credentials and be run as a process in your laptop. In future, he will use that as an initial entry point to your system. Then it will work in the background to gain further information, right? So that is how the phishing attack starts. So the moment you click an active document, like a Word document or an Excel document, so then you are bringing trouble to yourself, right? Because you are running essentially an executable inside a document, even though it's a Word document. When you click some active content, so with the unknown source, it may claim that it is coming from a bank, but it may not be from the bank. So those are the kind of attacks we call it as a phishing attack. So they try to find out. They assume that they are so actual source, but actually they are basically a cyber attacker. So other incident that I want to bring to your focus is the Ukraine attack, where it happened in December 2015, where around 225,000 customers were affected for about 2 to 3 hours, complete power failure. So they managed to bring down the the grid network. It started with again through a phishing attack. There, it is exactly the way I told about like an Excel document having an active content. Somebody started to open that document, and through that process, the adversary gained the credentials, login password. Then subsequently, he created a VPN connection to that, and then he managed to change the master boot record. So that means that he has changed the complete operating system of that control system node. So then he tried bringing down the SCADA network and disconnect the power supply to about 225,000 customers, right? So the beauty is he also disconnected from the network. So even if you want to remotely update the PC or connect and try to regain it, he ensured that the network connection is also he remains disconnected from the control system. So actually, these are kind of attacks which can result in a major damage to the utilities. So let me try to, with this backdrop, why we need security. I'll try to cover some of the security challenges, and then I'll try to bring out some of the approaches. Right. So as I mentioned earlier, we are trying to combine the IT network with the OT network. When I say OT network, the OT network can be your devices like air conditioner and television systems and so forth, where we have industrial protocols running. Whereas your IT network, we have ERP system and CRM and so many of the traditional network, right? So when they combine it, they take benefit of the data that is available in the IT network. That is the major benefit of the industrial IoT. So the legacy OT systems are traditionally there. For example, in the smart manufacturing plant, where they have a LAN system. So that LAN system is completely isolated from the public internet. So the industrial IoT advocates that you merge these IT network with the OT network so that you take benefit of some of the, for example, a component supply which needs to come from Japan for a manufacturing unit here. So by combining and taking advantage of the internet, so one will be able to find out when to supply that raw material from the foreign country, how long it will take. All that planning is possible provided you take the benefit of the internet. So those are the kind of advantage you bring when you combine the IT network with the OT network. But however, as I said, when you combine, you bring in more problems also. But the benefit is more as compared to the challenges. So it's always advantage is to have the data that is bringing in the benefit. So what are the kind of security vulnerabilities in IoT? So one is the confidentiality. Like when two parties communicate, they need to exchange data in an encrypted fashion. So, right, somebody listening in the middle should not be able to find out what somebody is talking, right? So it is like eavesdropping. Somebody will get to know what is going on in the conversation. So if you want to avoid somebody eavesdropping, then you need to have a protected channel established between two devices. So that is the first part of it. And then the software update. So just like your Windows getting updated, right? Your PC getting updated, and then your mobile phone software gets updated periodically. Similar to that, even your IoT device needs to get the software updates and security patches periodically. Otherwise, it can have a old unsecured software installation, which can lead to issues. Other mobility, where a device from a secure domain gets connected with the device that is coming from an unsecured domain. So that means the Trojan or the virus can infect the devices in the secure domain because of the mobility device, the new device coming from an unsecured domain. And also the gateway security, the perimeter security is also important, like the firewalls and various intrusion detection and intrusion prevention system are important component for IoT security. And the other aspect is the device security itself, like the boot process and the firmware upgrade and physical damage to the device, all that must take care of. These are some of the vulnerabilities in IoT. So what are the specific vulnerabilities at the endpoint? When I say IoT endpoint, those are IoT devices, right? Just like our PCs. But in the IoT, they are low power devices. They are operating in battery. So they are constrained devices, right? So the kind of vulnerabilities the endpoint can go through, like somebody can change the hardware configuration, right? So they can change the hardware configuration, or they can put a new configuration by means of connecting a USB stick. So anything, any physical access to the hardware by making configuration changes, somebody can do. And also somebody can change the boot up process. Somebody can update the BIOS or the so that the boot process itself is corrected. So they can try to bring the device to a state that is different from originally intended state. And then the ES2IS. If you heard of the virtual machine concept, how many of you know about virtual machine? VM. Okay. So you can run on the hypervisor. You can run multiple operating systems, right? So you can have a guest operating system that gets corrupted. So that is one source of vulnerability, right? So the other thing is the execution of the application itself. So the application can be malicious. So one is the operating system, other is the application of the API, the application programming interface, may be unauthorized. And other is the deployment environment. Somebody deploying the code, that environment may be deploying a wrong code instead of the correct one. And unauthorized access to the data itself. The code may be correct, but the data, what they are feeding in may be wrong. So that it may be corrected through some means of unauthorized access. And then the attacker trying to change the monitoring data. For example, if I want to turn on some light, so I should know the status of a particular thing, but somebody can spoof as if that particular event hasn't occurred or something like that. So it is like changing the monitoring parameter, the condition of the event. They can, when it is on, might set that it is off, or the other way around. So these are the kind of changes somebody can an attacker can do. And improper access to they can corrupt the configuration itself. For example, in this room only 2 lights are to be on, somebody can change it so that all the lights are on always. So these are kind of configurations somebody can do the corrupt it, right? Then uncontrolled changes to security policy somebody can do, and then again at the development time itself, somebody who has malicious intent during the development time itself, you can put the unwanted piece of code that does some malicious thing, right? It has the vulnerability at the time of development itself. So these are some of the endpoint vulnerabilities. So in terms of the types of security attacks, it can happen at different layers. It can happen at application layer, the phishing attack that I mentioned about, and then the malicious script, application script that can run. And at the network layer, you can have somebody listening in the middle, like eavesdropping that I mentioned about earlier. And the denial of service attack. Denial of service attack means you just bombard that particular server with more data so that the server will not respond, right? So it is like just feeding in more data so that the server becomes unstable or it doesn't respond, right? The genuine user will not be able to use it because you are just making it busy by sending wrong data to the server. So it is like a denial of service attack and traffic analysis attack and router information attack. And the other one is a cyber attack. You claim the identity of somebody else, like you masquerade like somebody else, right? And simple attack. And there are different attacks at the network layer. Similarly, at the device and gateway layer, somebody can tamper the node, or they can put a malicious code inside the device, or they can bring in a new device in the IoT network, which is not part of the actual network. So it can be a node injection, they call it. So they can add a new device so that they can actually do some malicious activity within that IoT network. It's like you put a new device in the LAN so that they can monitor what is going on in the network, what conversation is going on, and try to get to know what is happening and try to become part of it. Some of the security approaches, I'll try to give a quick overview of this one. So security is not a one-time process; it is a continuous process. So that is one should know about. Because once you update your software, it doesn't mean that you stop it. Because every few days we keep getting the update. Because new vulnerabilities people will get to know. So new updates are required. Same thing. If you see the diagram there, first is the identifying the critical information. What needs to be protected, and then analyze the threat. Who is the person or event that is actually going to cause the potential damage, that is the actual threat, and the vulnerability. Vulnerability is nothing but the weakness in the system that will create or that will be exploited by the attacker. And the consequence, what is the actual damage to the organization, that is the consequence. So if you write in terms of, in mathematical terms, the threat into vulnerability into consequence is equal to the risk. So even if one of them is not present, you don't have a risk. For example, there is no threat in the network, so that means even if something is vulnerable or there is a big consequence, but still there is no risk because there is no threat. For example, right? And the outcome is nil. For example, there is no consequence. Even if somebody attacks, it's not going to affect the network. So then also the risk is nil. But even if any one of them is not nil, means you don't have risk. But if all of them are present in some form, then it's a multiplicative effect. That is what is one should know. So the risk is higher as the one of the component group, right? And it is a continuous process. You just keep following this, identify integration and management. And the data protection. Data protection means the actual private as well as the communication data, right? So the data that resides in the device as well as the data that gets communicated between devices. All of these data needs to be protected, and it should have a policy, security model and policy. So the major thing is the endpoint. Device itself needs to be protected, and the communication channel, that is the communication path between two end devices needs to be protected. So those are the two major things. Rest of the things are all supplementary, like monitoring, analysis, and the data protection, of course. And going into a little bit of details on the protecting endpoints. So the endpoint doesn't have to be a low-power device. It can be a high-level device like a server or a personal computer, right? And also you need to keep providing the update, and it should run in a trusted execution environment. When we say trusted execution environment, so that means it is not it is protected enough environment. Like you run security services in a separate operating system, for example, so that it is completely protected. And you run the normal applications in a different operating system instance, so that it is in a trusted execution environment. And also, you should also provide physical security. For example, you don't want somebody to hack the system, probably you want to lock it, or you want to lock the room while you leave the room, so things like this. So physical security is also important. And also establish a root of trust, in the sense that do we have all the certificates or the authentication credentials properly intact in the system, because those are all important. And then you should also have proper identity for your device. So you have a proper X.509 certificate, just like your Aadhaar number. It is an identity for a. So further continuing, you should also have proper access control mechanisms for the endpoint. So it means like you need to authenticate. For example, you are connecting to another device, one IoT device talking to another device. It may be a malicious node. You should always try to find out, just like when somebody picks up the call, you try to always ask them where are they calling from and what is their name. You try to establish that they are a genuine person, right? Before you further give some details. Somebody cannot say that I am calling from bank and can you tell me your account number or a password or anything? So you always try to understand whether they are really calling from the bank, because nobody asks for a password or anything. So those are the kind of things where you need to authenticate the other party. That is called mutual authentication. I am telling my facts. Are you genuine? So you try to find out that, then the actual communication starts. You find out that the other party is also genuine before actually establishing any conversation. So that is mutual authentication. And then the endpoint authorization. What are they actually eligible to do? For example, a bank can only find out whether you are going to pay the loan by end of the month, or probably they can ask up to the point that you have paid your loan, or you don't have outstanding balance. Those kind of things only they will ask, right? They cannot be asking your ATM password or a PIN number or what is your balance. They may not be asking all those kind of questions. So that means who is authorized to do what. So that authorization, even at the IoT device level, one should ensure that the access control mechanisms and the integrity protection. So integrity means once the device gets booted up, so is it running the correct code? So is it in a stable condition? So it may be running a malicious code and it has joined the network, probably it will also spread to the other devices. So one is the integrity of the software that is running in the device, and also it can be at the boot time as well as at the runtime. Like during the runtime means like somebody maliciously updated the code during the runtime. So that means that needs to be verified at runtime. So how do we verify? There are mechanisms where you can find out, like at runtime, you can hash the particular code that is running. It might produce a unique, let's say, hash value. If it is not matching with the original hash value at the, let's say, at the time it is burned into the firmware, that means somebody has changed the code, right? So those are the kind of checks somebody one has to do to have a runtime integrity, whether the code that is running in the device is actually the original code or somebody has updated it with a malicious intent. So those are the kind of integrity protection one has to do, and also endpoint data protection. I think data protection is obvious, and endpoint protection by isolation. The isolation part is like in the virtual machine environment, you can have a virtual machine for secured services running in a separate one. In the green box, the secured services run. On the other side, those two are normal services. So you want somebody not to tamper with the code, you run it in a secured instance of the virtual machine, so that both are isolated between the